Welcome to the Primal Training Podcast. I'm your host, Mamoun Benani, a holistic fitness and nutrition coach. The goal of this podcast is to bring ancestral wisdom to the modern world by sharing insightful conversations with experts in movement, nutrition, and spirituality. I really hope to provide practical strategies to enhance your lives. Enjoy. Hi guys, today I'm meeting my amazing friend Didier Paré. Didier is the founder of the movement practice group in Montreal and a student of Ido Portal. For those who don't know Ido, he's the founder of the movement culture, and I would recommend to all of you to have a look on YouTube, and you will be astonished by the beauty and the fluidity of his movements. So about 2 years ago I came across Ido and I started following some of his routines. And until last year, I wanted to study the methodology a little bit more closely. And you can imagine how happy I was when I realized that the first group of movement in town has just opened. So I went to meet Didier and I took a class with him. And I'm not gonna lie, the first session felt really horrible. My body was put in weird positions and I felt a lot of discomfort doing many of the movements, although they look easy. And so I wasn't sure if I wanted to come back, and so I thought about it a little bit more, and I knew that there was something that I needed to learn from this practice. So what happened is that I took some more classes with Didier, and after only a few weeks I started to see a lot of results in terms of mobility and flexibility. And I continued some of these routines afterwards. So in this episode, we discuss about movement, a little bit on spirituality and relationships. And so, yeah, I really hope you enjoy this episode and take care, guys. Okay, we good?
We're good.
Didier.
Mamoun.
What a pleasure.
Always a pleasure to see you.
Man, I've really been looking forward to this. You're a mentor to me in all what you do. You've been teaching me and showing us to our small community here in Montreal about all the movement culture, and it's beyond the movement culture. It's you're embracing many aspects of spirituality, just like being a kind of a good person, and you're putting it in sports, in movement, and in the way you're being. That's how I see you as a person. And
thank you. I appreciate it.
And yeah, so the reason why I wanted to bring you on this podcast is that I know you have a lot to share that people might want to know about when it comes to many aspects of enhancing your life in general, and also me. It's not just for the others, and there's a lot of things that I want to know about you and that I don't know. I know I have some pieces about your life, some things that I heard, some things you told me, and yeah, we just want to put this puzzle together and know more about you and what you can share with.
I hope it's going to be more than one podcast if you want to put all these pieces together.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, Didier, tell us, like, what is, like, first question. I know it's like the most difficult question to answer, maybe not the most, but it's always tricky. Like when people ask, what is movement? What is movement? Like.
Yeah, it is a very complex question to answer, which in the last month we've been working on a video under 1 minute to explain what is a movement practice.
Mm-hmm.
So the question, what is movement? I'm gonna repeat what Ido Portal says: movement is everything, you know. So on the micro level, you know, it's everything is movement, you know. The atoms inside of you are moving, everything is moving. Even if it's something that looks still, it's still moving inside of it, you know. So
it's life.
Life is movement, exactly. Mm-hmm. Without movement, there is no life. That's what Ido says. So the only thing I can say is just quote, my mentor, because Ido has been a great influence, and because of him and his team, I had an awakened call. I don't know how to say it, but it's really changed my perspective of redefining my own existence, my own physicality through movement. And it's exactly what changed my life the most, and what saved my life in a very dark period of my life also.
Wow.
So yeah, so first I also want to say thank you for having me over on this podcast. Thank you for coming in my space. It's a pleasure to have you here, and anything I can do to help you with your project, it's always a pleasure. Thank you for also supporting my project, which is MVMT Montreal, for those who don't know about it. And looking forward to just grow together and learn from each other, like always.
Yeah, that's what we do. It's such a pleasure.
Yeah, so for movement, I would say what's a movement practice is basically just building a practice. So again, I'm going to say this all the time, so a lot of things that I say comes from Ido Portal. For those who don't know about it, I highly suggest that you watch the documentary on YouTube, or any of his interviews are really good. He's a man which is full of knowledge, very humble in who he is, and someone that I love to see, not only hear talk, but also to see move. Like, he's very impressive. So as Ido says, you know, the objective of a movement practice is first to realize that we kind of grew up, at least I kind of grew up with the background of fitness, you know, kind of like we need to train, you know, and it's all about isolating a muscle and look like the guy that has the beach body that you see.
Right.
And it's a little bit like, it's aesthetic, you know, it's really something that is a bit based, I don't say everybody, I don't want to generalize everybody, but it's based a little bit too much on your ego and just on building a muscle, making it bigger so it looks good. But as Ido says, it's just aesthetic. You want to have muscle that are going to be useful. And again, like, what are your patterns? What can you do with these muscles? You know, can you flip? Can you crawl? Can you invert? That's the real question.
Yeah.
So I understood through time and through pain also, because I injured my body out of respect to my body.
Yeah.
So I understood that being healthy is not about having the beach body. The beach body is gonna come with a healthy lifestyle, you know?
Yeah.
If you eat good, you take care of yourself, the beach body, maybe not the perfect six-pack of the guy that train, like, if I can say overtrain, you know, like 5-6 days a week and 3 hours a day, eat 7 meals a day, but as soon as he stops, he's gonna melt and lose it all.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So I understood while seeing my grandparents getting older, and I always wonder, like, why is he or she like 70 years old and look almost finished, and this older person is 9 years old and she looks like she's alive and in full shape, and she's not going to the gym 7 times a week, you know?
Yeah.
So in the end, it's movement. The more time we spend sitting on a chair, the more calcified you are. And you know it. The worst invention is the chair. The chair, the sofa, the toilet, you know? And every time you spend a long time in front of the TV, sitting on a sofa, and then you stood up and you're just like, you know, shit, you know, I feel like crooked, I feel something is wrong. You feel it, you know it, but you still go sit on the couch. You still keep those bad habits, because truth is, we don't listen to our body anymore. And that's one of the big problems. So once you start to realize all of this, and you start to realize that it can be nice to go to the gym. Some people love to push plates and to go to the gym. Some people don't like the gym because of the energy of the gym. You know, like me, I love to teach. So I love to give to people. If I go to the gym and I see someone who's with the dumbbell and is doing a movement which is bad, which right now it's okay, he's with the dumbbell and he's swinging the dumbbell, he has 20 pounds in it each end, and for now it's okay. But if you do this with 50 pounds, one day something's gonna happen. You're gonna injure yourself. So me, out of good intention, I want to go see that person in the gym and be like, hey, what's your name and how you doing? I'm Didier. Can I give you an advice? Be careful. You should stay like this. You should have this posture. And not all the time in the gym, you can approach someone that you don't know and go teach him something, you know? It depends how you do it, and it depends of the person. But what's sad sometimes about gym is many people are into their ego. And that's what I have a bit more of a problem with. I think that if gym could become a place that is very like a big open community where everybody would be there to help each other, it would be an amazing experience. And I still think that we need gyms, we need like, you know, weights, and we need, but if people could just start to realize that if you get out of this fitness world and you just open up to a practice more than training, so just changing the words, then once you start having a practice, you start looking at how can I improve my skills, my abilities, and how do I do it? Through play. Then people become playful. If you start to be playful, then everything changes. Because when we're young, everything is simple. Hey, Mamoun, what do? You come to my house, I come to your house. Everything is simple. We just meet and we play. We have fun. We just go outside, we take a piece of wood, we climb in a tree, we make it simple. I don't know why. Today when you call a friend, like, oh yeah, what do we do? Oh, you want to go there? No, maybe not there. And it starts to be more complicated. So I think that if we could just go back to a simple way of seeing things, we should just call each other, meet, and we should just have fun. Take things simple. And it goes for our life, our daily life, how we meet our friends and how when we organize stuff, to the way we train, you know, the way we practice. Because if you start just playing while you practice, then it becomes something a bit less serious, and through play you develop abilities. And that's the idea behind the movement culture. So the fact that you should have a community of people with who you can practice something that you love, which is movement. And from there on, everybody should be friends, everybody should be curious about each other, and everybody should be there to help each other. And that's one of the things that I loved when I went to the movement camp of Ido Portal. And the first day, imagine the first day, everybody gets there from different countries around the world. And at night, everybody goes to this kind of like big restaurant. Everybody eats there together, but not everybody knows each other. So some people just eat at their table and everything. And in the morning after, when we started the first day, Ido was like, last night some people were eating alone. I don't want to see anyone eat alone. Are we clear? We are a community. If someone is sitting alone at the table, I want you guys to either go sit with him or her, or either you create a place on your table. Don't tell me there's no place at your table. There's always a place for more people. Otherwise, you just few people go sit with that person. If someone can't do a movement, you're going to stay with him or her, and you're going to help them achieve the movement. And that's the community aspect of the movement culture. And that's, to me, it's just mind-blowing, because this is what we need. We need to stop dividing people. I don't care if it's your first time doing movement. I do care. I care, and I want to help you, so you will like it and you will start being a mover. You will change your perspective of your own physicality. So that's the objective of MVMT Montreal. That's the objective of movement in general, to just awaken people that there's no such a thing as I can't do this, oh no, I'm not good at this. That's the first thing. As Ido says, there's 3 different levels of learning. You have to be in the beginner's mind. You have to stay in a place where you're not good. You suck at it. Guess what? You suck at it. That's the best thing ever. That's where your brain is going to develop the most. That's where it pays off. From the moment that you try to catch something, oh, I know how to do it. I can't, I don't master this thing, but I already know how to do it. Even if, I do it and then, I can't. Already over 70% of the brain development is gone.
Yeah.
So the idea is to develop a movement practice that makes you feel uncomfortable. You want to be in that beginner's mind, beginner's mind. You want to be in that state of, I'm here to learn, I'm here to play, have fun, not taking myself seriously. It's a bit like when you learn a new language. You're very bad at it. The hardest step is to say, I'm going to learn few words, but then I'm not going to take myself seriously, because learning few words is easy. But from the moment where you have to try to express yourself, that's where people close. They're like, oh, I look stupid, I sound stupid, and then there's no more evolution. Mm-hmm. If you don't take yourself seriously and you just have fun, and you don't care if you sound stupid and you make a mistake, because if you make mistake, that's where you learn the most, then you're going to learn the language. Yeah. And every day you're going to improve. So it's the same thing in the movement practice. Yeah,
that's exactly what I felt the first time I came to your practice. And it's, as you're saying, it's really uncomfortable and it's really hard to wrap it around your mind. And you're like, okay, like I was at a point, I did it the first time and it was so uncomfortable that I was hesitating if I wanted to come back or not. And you have all this rationalization of thinking of, oh, maybe it's not for me, maybe it won't be beneficial. But I gave it a second or a third try and I've seen a lot of benefits of being in this uncomfortable state, and there's a teacher in this pain. And for those who've never seen any like movement practice, if anyone is looking at it from the outside, it really looks like something anyone can do. It's easy. It's like it's not CrossFit or I don't know, like something like really explosive with weights or anything, but it really puts you in uncomfortable positions where you feel that your body cannot handle it, and it gives a really, really weird sensation. And the reason why I was mentioning this is like when you're in this position, like a lot of people just give up. They're like, oh, it's a little bit uncomfortable. I can't do it. I can't do it. And they're gonna find all reasons why it's not good for them. Yeah. I don't have time. I'm too tired. I'm this. I'm that. And then they just don't do it. But like when it's the right time to do it, when you feel there's you feel when it's uncomfortable. Not all the time, but a lot of times you need to be listening to this teacher and seeing what you could gain from this. From these situations.
Yeah, from this discomfort. But you said it, there's difference between discomfort and pain. Mm-hmm. And sometimes people think that discomfort is pain. And there's a difference. Some people sometimes think that it's just discomfort, but they're into pain. You know? Pain is not good. Pain is the body screaming, hey, what are you doing? I don't like this. Yeah. Discomfort is like, oh shit, man, I'm not comfortable, but yeah, maybe there's something hidden. Why am I uncomfortable inside of this position? What's happening here? Maybe it says you should work on this mobility exercise, or you should work on this strength or on this small muscle. And you said something very interesting, because a lot of people that come for the first class into the movement practice, very often at the end of the class, they're like, oh, okay, it was not... like I'm not sweating, it was not, it's a different kind of training. But 2 days after, they write me messages, oh my God, Didier, I don't know, I feel some weird muscle, I'm sore, I never feel this before. Because it's challenging a lot of stabilizer and a lot of small muscle that you're not used to work. Yeah. But these muscles are very important. Mm-hmm. And again, we have to stop thinking, I'm going to isolate that muscle and make it big. Mm-hmm. But what happened to all the rest? When we look at the body, we have to look at the kinetic chain. Yeah. Everything is connected together, Yeah. A baseball player who throw a ball, it starts from his big toe to all the leg up until the hand, the arm that unroll up to the tip of his finger. It's everything. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people think that like big muscles, like being... Like, I always say that people want to reverse engineer the way they look. They think that if you look strong, you're healthy. But you can look strong and have all kind of diseases and be in pain and all of that. But the thing is, the right way to go is if you're doing everything to be healthy, the body will follow, and then there's no reason why you're not gonna look fit and have the perfect beach body, as you're saying. But if you go the other way around and
look for isolation, this muscle and this muscle. You might end up looking good, but you're trying to trick the way things work, you know?
Yeah, but looking again, what's looking good? You know, because some guys, they look very good, some girls, they look very good, but when they open their mouth, it's over. You understand?
Yeah.
What is healthy? Is healthy for you having a beach body? Because for me, this is not. You know, a lot of people, they're really into physical, you know, like their physical aesthetic appearance, the way they look and everything, but what's happening inside? And again, one of my favorite sentences is more movement of the body, more stillness of the mind. And that's what Ido says. And that's the thing. Like what's happening inside of you, you know, it's as important as how you can move. Okay, you can do a backflip, but if every night you go to sleep and you feel like shit and you have anxiety attack and everything, maybe you don't need to work on your bicep curl. Mm-hmm. Maybe you need to work on meditation.
Yeah.
And again, there's a story that I really like where it's actually Dudi Malka who was saying the story in the movement camp in Thailand. And maybe I'm not going to say it as good as he says, but he says one day all the gods were reuniting together and they were talking to each other and they were asking to themselves, where should we hide the biggest secret of humanity, you know? Mm-hmm. And they were like all thinking like, maybe we should put it on top of the highest mountain, you know? And then start thinking, they're like, no, I think that human one day will get there, you know? They will manage to climb the highest mountain, they will find the secret of life. And they're like, okay, maybe we should put it underwater, you know, in the deepest ocean. And then, you know what, maybe someday they're gonna find some kind of technology that will allow them to go in the deepest sea. And then they keep on thinking, maybe I know. Maybe we're just gonna put it like very, very far in the sky. You know what? Maybe we're gonna go to the moon, you know, to another planet. And they got, again, no. And one day they're gonna find a technology to go to another planet, you know. So after thinking and thinking, one of the gods says, I know. Let's put it in the only place where they will never have the strength to go look for it, inside of themselves. Mm-hmm. And that's a story that I really like because it's true. The hardest work to do is the inner work. That's what most people are afraid to do. Mm-hmm. You know, working on your tan and on your muscles, and it's the easy part. But finding peace with yourself and be able to sit in silence to listen to your mind, to the monkey mind, you know, that little voice, that chit chat all the time, and that's talking shit. Everybody has that voice, you know. Some people think that they're the only one who have this little voice inside of their head, but we all have that little voice that talks shit that we just wanted to stop. And that's what meditation is, you know. It took me a long time to understand this, and that's what I teach to people. Meditating is not about finding silence. You know, you're not going to find silence. It's about becoming the observer of your mind. You have to look at the sky of your mind and see what's happening there.
Just watching.
Is it full of sun and blue skies and puffy white clouds, or it's full of gray dark clouds, or is it changing? And where do you put your energy? So meditation is about being able to withdraw the attention, the energy that you give to a thought. And if you learn to do it into a meditative state, then you can bring it into your daily life. Because let's face it, once the little monkey mind starts talking, it mostly all the time goes into somewhere you don't want to go, somewhere which is the dark cloud. And then you have to surprise yourself, oh shit, I'm feeding this bad thought. And once you realize it, you have to withdraw the energy of that bad thought, let it go, and focus on a beautiful little puffy cloud and give the energy to something positive and change your mind. Don't connect with the lower self, but connect with your higher self. And it's the hardest work that there is.
Oh yeah. And people are afraid of the void of silence, and you can see it's like in everywhere. You can see it in our everyday's life. We're feeling, people are putting like music everywhere, like they need to be watching on their phone, and it's so scary. It's so like once you realize the, like, I don't know how to explain it, but like once you realize the power of just being on your own, and being in silence, and what it can teach you, there's more. There's no like 100% silence. Like when like for example, you go to the woods. Like there was a few weeks ago, we went camping, and we just like sit in silence and try to like listen to, like, I live like downtown, and I can hear cars all day, and like there's like noise all the time. And even if you go like to this place where there's like absolutely no noise, it's full. You can hear it has an energy. Silence has an energy, and people are afraid to be there because it's so powerful. There's so much you can learn from it, but they're filling their days with like little noise from here, little this, little that. But there can be a lot more you can get from just being on your own. It's like there's everything. There's nothing, but there's everything.
Exactly. And now we see it in the coronavirus time that a lot of people are going crazy. A lot of people are in a poisonous relationship, and now they're stuck 24/7 with that person, and then it's blowing fuse completely. Some people, it's not that the relationship in which they are is poisonous. It's that normally what comes to balance their life is their social life on the side, and the fact that they go to the bar, they drink, they smoke, whatever it is, you know. But it's like now we take everything away from them and we put them, you know, in one place 24/7. So I think that a lot of people have to face a lot of difficulties lately because they have to face themselves. They have to face their life, you know. They cannot go to the bar, get drunk every Friday with their friends anymore. They cannot, you know, whatever it is, as you say, it can be being on your phone, listening to music, whatever it is. But the truth is there's something behind all of this, and it's all, life is like a scale, you know. And I like to say that we're all some kind of Cirque du Soleil artists that are just like juggling and trying to hold everything. It's like a big scale, you know. Or you know the stick with the Chinese plate, you know, the plate that you like spin on the stick, you know. But you have many sticks, you know. And I always say life is about cycles. So it's always about starting back a new cycle. And what you do basically is you juggle, you just hold some stuff like, oh, you know, okay, I got it, and everything fall down and it start back. So I like to say life is like a scale, or just like a stick. You put something, you know, in equilibrium, and you just try to hold it. But normally you start with the basic need, which is eating, sleeping, showering, you know. And then once you have this in balance, then you had your work because you have to pay the bill, and then you have your relationships, either like your girlfriend or the family or your friends, and then the other relationships that are not the first one. And then once you have all of this, you add your passion and you add your projects, and you just, whoa, everything, you know, you're trying to hold everything, and everything falls down because it's too much for you.
Yeah.
And then you start back, basic needs, relationships, work, and then you just juggle like that. So it's all about always trying to balance your life, and you lose control, and you rebalance, and you lose control, and it's normal, it's okay.
It's not a straight line. It's always
cycle.
Yeah.
You go, you take some experiences and other experiences, and then whoop, you come back to, and then you do, oh my God, I did this and this and this, and now I'm here. And everything makes sense. But you had to do the whole cycle to then come to this point where you realize, okay, I did all of this and I took all these experiences to come to this point, and it opened to me a new door. But you're not going to realize it until you finish the cycle and you get to the next step.
Yes, sir. So you mentioned to me how discovering the movement culture has literally changed your life. You were having a breakdown. Do you mind sharing this little part of your story of how what happened, and how what was really the influence of movement on your body? I think on your health, or like just generally speaking, like what happened?
Yeah, well, just so people have a little bit more of background about me, I'm someone who, since a young age, I always have been interested and obsessed with learning and obsessed with people in general. So since I'm like 3-4 years old, I'm always like, my grandma always told me like, you're always like going to see people, you know, strangers and everything. So I love people. That's one of my thing. And I love to learn about people. Like I would go in the street and ask everybody, what's your name? What do you do for work? You know, I want to know who is behind the person that I see, you know. So I love people and I love to learn. So every year I always challenge myself by learning a new music instrument or a new language or anything, a new sport, a new activity. So I'm someone who did mostly all the sports when I was young, from playing soccer, baseball. I studied like sport-études, which was like all day playing hockey, you know, and stuff. And so I played mostly all the sport. I'm a skateboarder, snowboarder, I surf, I'm a skydiver. I do mostly everything. My friends always tell me like, is there something you don't do? And I tell them, if there's something I don't do, please tell me.
Me.
I do electronics, you know, I fix electronic stuff. I do mechanics.
You built your house.
I do construction. I do like, you know, because I love to learn. And again, this is the whole purpose of a movement practice. Put yourself in the beginner's mind. Be curious, have fun, play, don't take yourself seriously. So I love to just learn something that I'm very bad at and just be obsessed and stubborn about I'm gonna make it, and just keep practice and boop, okay, I made it. And then, okay, next, you know, I made it. So there's no point. I don't want to be a master of construction or a master surfer or a master. I want to learn, I want to be good. And once I start in like, okay, I get it. I'm not the master of it. There will always be someone who's better than me at it. But I feel like I reach a comfortable level where I control mostly and I know what I'm doing. Then I'm like, okay, next. I want to learn something new. So I always have been like that. And I used to laugh about guys in the gym, and then I became someone that goes to the gym to train with my friends, and then I pushed it to the extreme. I was a bodybuilder, 185 pounds of muscle, training, eating 7 meals a day, all natural, never touch any steroids or stuff like that. And that's it. So I understand how people go to the gym and take the pre-workout with the creatine and makes you, but at some point it's when you take a break and you pause and people start to telling you, okay, Didier, it's too much. No, what do you mean it's too much? You know, and you don't see yourself. But then I just realized, and I stopped and I went into yoga, and yoga brought me the awareness of my posture, of how I sit, the awareness of my breath, the more spiritual side to it and everything. So I learned so many things, and I was blessed to have some very inspiring teachers into yoga, which is Mark Darby and his son, also Shankara Darby, and his wife, Mark's wife, Joanne. So they have been teaching me a lot of things, but they always told me something which always stick into my mind. That was, Didier, don't do only yoga. Yoga is good, but don't do only yoga, because yoga is not complete. And then came Ido after 7-8 years of yoga, where I see this guy on YouTube and I watch his videos and I listen to what he's saying, and then I'm like, whoa, this makes sense. It was just like connecting two dots, you know, like,
so what year was this?
That was in 2020, almost 21. That was in 2017.
Okay.
Yeah, and 2017. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, so all of this to say that it was kind of like, okay, who's this guy? And then I did some kind of like training with some guys in the circus school that was teaching Ido Portal, telling me about Ido Portal. I didn't know the guy. And then I went to do my research, my work. And then I decided to book training with Ido Portal, you know, that was in the US. And that's how everything started. But it was just making so much sense because I went from doing everything, all the sport, to then go into really deep fitness and bodybuilding. Kind of, I would not say lost myself into it, but kind of like went really deep into it until people were like, it's too much. And then I went into yoga. And for me, everything that Ido was explaining was just, I found myself into always wanted to touch everything, being more of a generalist than a specialist. And the fact that my yoga teachers were always telling me yoga is not complete because there's no hanging, there's no pulling, there's no, So it was just making so much sense that then I got curious. I went to do the workshop and then another workshop and then the online coaching and then the movement camp. So I trained a year, like very intense, just to be approved to go to the movement camp. And when we were approved, me and my friend Lenny, it was just like, woo, so much like, yeah, we're going. And to be there was it was such a special event, such a special, I was blessed to go there. And since that day, it has just been building up MVMT Montreal and trying to be part of this paradigm shift that Ido is talking about. And I think that we see it right now on social media and everything. There's more and more, how they call it, the training, how do you call it? I always forget the name.
Like a type of training?
Yeah, it's not intelligent training. They
functional?
call it functional training. Yeah. So we see all this functional training, and all these movements, like primal movement.
Yeah.
And you see that there's something happening. There's a change. And that's what Ido talks about, the paradigm shift. But I just hope that it's going to push further to an extent that people will understand that the Ido Portal method and the movement culture is so much more deeper than just the primal movements, or locomotion is one subject, but when Ido talks about movement culture, it's taking from everything.
Yeah, so there's I've seen some videos of animal flow, and if you don't really know a lot about like this animal flow or movement culture in general, and watch a video, they might look a little bit similar, or there's some similarities. Like what's your take on animal flow? Like how is movement different from either animal flow or other types of? I'm sure there's plenty. I don't know all of them, but like how is it different?
Again, as Ido says, there's the containers and the content. Animal flow is just another container with some content inside. While the movement culture is more about being a mover, just being a human being who expresses physicality through movement and takes contents from all the containers that there is. It's endless. There's no limits. You understand? The only point is, what are you looking for? What do you want to build in your movement practice? What's important? Because again, like what I like to say is, what's good for me might not be good for you. You understand?
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
a very interesting that Ido was talking in his last podcast that came out like a week ago or something, and there's a fighter that was interviewing him, and he was asking him some question about mobility, and again, Ido was approaching it in such an intelligent way, because some people want to do the split, but maybe that their body is not built to do the split. So what's the point? Is it just, again, your ego wants to do the split for Instagram, or there's a purpose behind you doing the split? And what's the limit of your own body, the way that your bone structure and everything is built, Maybe you can learn the split, but as Ido says, he paid the price. And I think that in many things in life, like I can always also say, I paid the price for wanting something too much, so obsessively that I pushed my limit until I injured myself. So the question is, behind that movement practice that you want to build, what is your objective? What do you want to learn? What is your next challenge? And you're going to challenge yourself with few different subjects that could be related to modern dance and to like BJJ and to locomotion that can look as primal movement, you know, or something like.
Yeah.
But again, yes, everything can look like the Ido Portal method, like the movement culture and a movement practice, because that's what it is. It takes from everything. But what I like about it is the way that Ido brings it and breaks it down. It's not only about doing the movement, but it's about understanding the movement and breaking it down and doing it with quality. So as I always say, never sacrifice movement quality for quantity or speed. And I repeat this to my student all the time. And that's what I love about Ido, because that's what he is all about. About movement quality.
Yeah, that's one of the things that really made me love the movement practices. Taking the time to do each exercise, and as you're saying, like breaking it down to see like all the patterns of the movement. And it's something that I've been introducing in my practice, and like even training with my clients is sometimes I get a client who's like, oh, like I want to do it, I'm ready, like give me the weights. I'm like, can you take the time, like breathe first, and like I really like want to give this kind of this atmosphere of like people when they come, they like take their time, and like, and you'll realize that like just an example, like push-ups, like you can do like, I don't know, 50, 100 push-ups, like going like this, but just do one push-up and take your time and go down with slowly with quality, and your shoulders and your arms are gonna kill you. So
you do 100, but out of 100, how many was with quality?
Yeah,
you understand?
Yeah.
And you know, another thing that I find that the people in fitness really forget, especially when they train women, and they should bring this even if they're even more if they're a man. And sorry, I don't want to sound sexist, but eccentric work. To work on the negative of the movement is going to pay you off so much more.
Oh yeah.
It's like I see a lot of guys that wants to go to the gym and they want to train intense, but they're not ready for what they want to do. And that's one of the problem of CrossFit, I think. And thanks God, like CrossFit people, like they're people who they have a lot of motivation and everything, and thanks to them, the Olympic rings cost nothing right now. It went from $60 to $30 a pair. So thanks to the CrossFit industry. But they're willing, they want, you know, they all go there and they're all ready to follow each other there. But there's one training on the board, and that's for everybody who, if you look at everybody, they all have a different level of fitness. It's like, how can you all look at the same program and try to follow each other? And truth is, if you look at some like a survey that have been done, after 4 to 6 months, max 8 months, everybody get injured in the CrossFit industry, you know, which is sad, because I mean, there's a great potential. People that want, and they really want, they're asking for more, they give everything they have, but when I see them swinging on the bars, oh my gosh, I'm like, something is gonna come out. It's like, you know, their shoulder or something. I see them swinging on the bar and I'm like, oh my God, you know?
Yeah, but it's important to, like for CrossFit, that's my concern that I have. But it's important to realize that the elite CrossFitters, they're good at what they're doing. Like
of course.
They're super fit, they're super healthy. I don't think they're having problems with their joints or anything, but the problem is the mother that just gave birth like 6 months ago, and she wants to get back to training, and she goes to the local CrossFit gym and she does this, she goes like all in, and
from 0 to 1,000.
Yeah, because it becoming trendy and all of that. But as you're saying, I'm sure there's like a big potential for CrossFit to be beneficial, but the way it's executed today is not good at all.
They should just change their approach, you know. Maybe do some more beginners class or something. And again, I'm not a pro of CrossFit, and I don't want to bash on CrossFit or any other industry. do what you love, you know, and go take a class of CrossFit, go take a class of dance, go take that. That's what Ido, you know, people say, where do I start my movement practice? He says, just start by taking classes of all kinds of stuff. But one thing that I might say, and it's something very important, I think, it's again something that Ido brought to my attention, is the fact that we live in a society where information is easily accessible and very addictive. But the problem is we became some kind of whore of workshops. I'm going to do a workshop of this, another workshop of that, and I'm going to read a book and another book. But the truth is, how much are you chewing on this material? And that's what I love that Ido says. Because we don't care if you read 100 books, if you can't apply one into your life. You
Absolutely,
know?
yeah.
Talk the talk, walk the walk.
Yeah.
You know? So that's the thing. Like, I think that, like, I went to the movement camp and I didn't came back and teach what I learned in the movement camp in Thailand to my student. I started to introduce it a year after, because I try to chew on the material and try to digest it so I can then bring it and know what I'm doing, what I'm talking about. Oh, look what I learned yesterday. You learned it yesterday. It's okay if you want to teach it, but as a teacher, I think that I need to also respect what I teach in a way that it's okay that I learned something new, but I should chew on this enough before I bring it to my student. To have my own experience about it, be able to talk what I learned and see how I could explain it in my way and with my own experience. So it's good to do workshops, but again, you know, and I say it all the time to my students in classes, bring a piece of paper, a notebook, take some notes.
Yeah.
Very few take notes. How can you remember everything? You know, you need to take notes, you need to, and then read your notes and chew on the material.
That's it. It reminds me, thinking of people that are like more of, like you're saying, like workshop whores and just like want to learn and see this and do that. It's, I mean, you need it. You need to like be always like, well, it's good to be curious and learning new things. But for me, I see the analogy of like religion versus spirituality. Like religion are all about like reading the books and like going to church and just like being in the mind and the head and like thinking that they're doing good. I'm not saying that I stand in one side or the other, but like spirituality is, they might not be reading specifically like one or other books, but it's like more of the way of living and like the way you like just being kind. Like you can be like, your religion is just being kind to other people or just like doing good things, and it's like the way you're living. But what I think personally, and that's my opinion, it's good to have both, like having the books and have like living and like in like actually like embodying the books that you're reading, and that's what makes the difference.
Yeah, and religion has great things. Some people abuse the name of religion, you know, and some people are fanatics and can't lean between the lines, and some, there will always be, and it's like this in everything. In the movement, you know, like in the movement communities around the world, we will see some people that might one day start to try to abuse, you know, like we saw in yoga, this Bikram guy that said he invented the hot yoga and started to like sue, like I heard like stories, he was suing like people that was doing hot yoga, you know, like he invented this, you know. So there will always be some kinds of people like that, and in the end I think that we just have to stay humble, as you said, and if you can just, you know, be a nice person, be kind, be generous, you know, of your time, and that's how we're going to create a better world to live into and nicer communities, you know, and that's the objective with the movement community. My objective with MVMT Montreal is I wish to awaken as many people as possible in this city, that in the summer in the park I would see more people playing And I saw this summer, you know, the game, it's like a small trampoline and people tapping a ball on it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so we saw this starting to pop. I'm like, nice.
That's
you
great.
know?
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing that makes me happy. I want to see people doing more partner games and being more playful in the parks, being like children instead of sitting, smoking and drinking and doing this thing that doesn't serves you, doesn't make you a better human being. It's nice to socialize once in a while, you know, but the truth is when people abuse from it, it's another story. So I just wish to see more people enjoying their physicality and not just being drinking and smoking to forget life, you know.
Yeah, and there's a silver lining to the COVID. Like as you were saying, like this summer, so many people were outdoors, and sometimes it was frustrating because I'm like an addict to hiking. I go hiking every weekend, and once the lockdown started, and it was impossible to find any spots, like any mountains. I would go like mountains like really far, and like there's hikers everywhere, and it's like all full, all packed. Yeah. And it was frustrating, but at the end of the day, I'm just happy that people are
enjoying more the outdoor.
Yeah, they don't have a choice. Like they're like, okay, there's not much we can do. We can go shopping, we can do this, we can do that. But at least like it was so satisfying to see people outdoors and like at parks playing and doing like outdoor sports and all of that. And it's so good. It's maybe it's something that's gonna stay like beyond the COVID. I hope that the next years it's something that's people are gonna just realize how fun it is and how good it makes them feel to be outdoors and just move.
I hope so. I hope that people are gonna realize a lot of things about themselves, and I see a lot of couples also fighting and breaking up and everything, and I wish that many of you guys are gonna be able to work on yourself and to learn about communication and go through this and grow, you know, because this is what relationships are made for. Relationships are made to challenge you, and they're made to make you grow and become a better version of yourself. And a true friend is someone who's going to be able to come to tell you to your face, dude, that's not cool. You did this, you do this, you act like this, you talk like this, which is not good, and put it in your face.
Right.
It's not easy, you know, but if your best friend are not doing it, who's going to do it? You know, a stranger, I don't think you're going to take it from a stranger if you can't take it from your friends.
Right.
You know? So, but yeah, let's hope for the best, and all I can say is I hope that everybody is just going to take time to work on themselves, to sit in silence with themselves, and to find their own life purpose, if I can say.
Yeah. Thank you.
Pleasure. Through movement or no movement, you know, whatever it is that makes you happy.
Yeah.
But don't forget to move, because movement is life, as I said. You know, if you don't want to be old and crooked, as Ido says, what's the best reason to move? Because you can.
Yeah.
Don't wait to have an accident or something bad happen to you, and then you realize, shit, I lost an arm, I lost a leg, I can't walk anymore, I can't, you know. And that's what's the most sad, is when people wake up when it's too late, you know, when something hit them in the face, and then they realize, oh shit, what did I do? You know. So live your life fully and don't take nothing for granted. One of the first thing I teach to people is to build a morning routine. I ask people, what's the first thing you do when you open your eyes?
Well, I try to go to meditate before doing anything else, but it doesn't happen every morning.
Okay, but to go meditate, you're already standing out of bed. What's the first thing you do when you're in bed?
When I'm in bed, in my bed, I would like stay in my bed for like a minute or two, like just like turning it around a little bit.
Very good.
And yeah, that would be like my first thing. I try not to like stand out of my bed like first thing in the morning. I would just like try to stay there just a little bit, because I had a time where I would be like, I would just wake up in the morning and my brain goes on. I'm like, okay, I gotta do stuff. I'm like, okay, take it easy. just do. I'll try to do things really slowly in the morning. Like take my time, like an hour, whatever. Like whichever is gonna take. Maybe it's gonna take an hour or more, but I make sure that I wake up well in advance so I can have my time where I'll do things slowly.
Nice. But you did something very interesting. You did this.
Yeah.
What do you do in the morning? You didn't say the word, but what I tell people is first, look at any animals that wake up in the morning or that wake up in the middle of the day. If you have a cat, a dog, and you just, hey, what you doing? You know, you talk, they stretch. They stretch. The first thing they do is they stretch. But the truth is the first thing that people are doing today in this society is they grab their phone, you know, before anything else. First of all, if you have someone next to you who's not sleeping, start by saying good morning. That's the first thing that you should do. But start by just stretching. Build a small routine. And that's what I teach to people. I teach to people a very simple routine, which is you're just going to push on the the headboard of your bed or the wall, whatever is there. You're going to go down until you can extend your arms fully, and you're going to stretch. So you're just going to stretch like this as much as possible, pushing in the wall. And then once you're done, you're just going to do circles with your feet and your hands, 10 on one side, 10 on the other side. And then after, I just like to turn and open my hips. So I just go face down like this in bed, and I just open the hips here, you know, and you can even relax like this, but just stretch, you know, just take the time to stretch. You can play with the hips, you can play whatever, you can do, you know, cat-cow, whatever it is, you know, you can do circles into a cat-cow, whatever it is, you know, but just take the time to respect your body. You've been sleeping all night, your body is sleepy. First thing to do is to stretch. First stretch. Take 30 seconds, 1 minute, build a small routine that is complete for you in bed. Then sit on the side of your bed and look at your two hands, look at your 2 feet. Be grateful. Just start to be grateful for what you have, for your health. And then you can touch your phone. You can do whatever you want, you know. But that's the first thing that I would teach to people. And it's really like I saw many friends of mine that started to do it, and they wrote me back some message, or they called me, they said, dude, it really changed my life, you know, like such a small thing. And that's the thing. Many people say, I don't have time for this. I know the truth is you don't take the time.
You decide where you want to put your time.
You might be able to bullshit yourself, but don't bullshit me, you know? You don't take the time.
Yeah.
It has been proven 1 minute a day of very intense sport can highly improve your quality of life. Don't tell me you don't have time to train, because this is the biggest bullshit ever, you know? Take a minute.
But it's a choice too.
It's a choice.
You're gaining other things from not like stretching or training or doing any other things. So it's just like how
you gain 1 minute more on social media.
Yeah.
What do you gain?
I mean, like what I mean is like you decide. Like you.
I know.
Yeah.
That's Take your phone, go to your social media and look what's your average time a day, you know, and then start wondering how many minutes can I take out from this average time a day on social media and spend it on something else, you know. When I see people like an hour and a half a day on social media average time, I'm like, wow, you know, like if I have 20 minutes, half an hour, it's like, you know, because I have like, you know, my company and everything, and I'm trying to, but I don't have enough time in a day, so I don't know how people can spend an hour and a half, 2 hours a day on social media. But again, to each one their own decision. But I think that that's the first thing I would tell people. You want to start your own movement practice, first wake up in the morning, start by just stretching, respecting your body, be grateful for living inside a human body, and just start moving because you can. Whatever it is, if it's climbing trees outside, go climb trees. If it's to play in the snow because winter is here, go play in the snow. If it's on the beach and the sand, go on the beach on the sand. Wherever you are, just enjoy your body, play, have fun. And then if you want to push it further, find a movement facility, find a movement teacher. And again, one thing that Ido says is we lost the respect for teachers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we lost the respect for a good boxing coach, for a good teacher. You're a good, find someone that you know that will always challenge you, that will always bring new material, that will always keep learning and growing, because to be a good teacher, you have to be a good student. So if you find a good student who can be your teacher, you make sure that this person will always learn new stuff and always bring you new material, and you're going to support his growth, and he's going to support your growth.
Yeah.
And then
it's important that you're mentioning that you have to be a student, because there's one thing that I noticed: when you're not a student, when you're just a teacher, you end up being dogmatic, because you think that's the truth and I'm gonna teach this for the rest of my life because that's what I think is true. And I can't remember exactly what he said, but there was a podcast of Ido where he was saying that there are things that he said 10 years ago that are not good anymore. Does he regret it? No, you're not regretting. You're just like learning new things, and then you're adapting, and you're always teaching your student things that you think are real. And there's one thing that I believe is, today I'm gonna tell you, like, straight in your eyes, something that I believe is 100% true. And although I know that maybe in 6 months or like in a week, I might learn something that would disapprove completely, but I'm always true to what I say and always trying to learn, and that's how you grow, and that's how you teach, and that's how you learn, by just like you don't have to be skeptical, because like there might be other truths to like there might be other versions, but at the same time you always need to be aware that like things evolve, and
of course
there's different versions of truth, and there's yeah, it's important to be a student.
Yeah, we have a sentence in French that says only crazy don't change their mind.
Yeah,
juste les fous qui changent pas d'idée.
Yeah,
you know, so it's exactly it. So again, don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's how you learn.
Yeah,
you know, so we all gonna make mistake. Hopefully we're not gonna injure people, you know, we're not gonna hurt people around us while we do mistakes, you know. If we injure ourselves, well, that's a price to pay, I guess, to learn. But
yeah,
that's it. For the rest, yeah, it's all about learning. It's a learning process, you know.
Right.
So you have to be a good student and find great teachers. That's the best thing you can do, you know.
So speaking of teachers, so when you were talking about the movement culture, for sure it's normal. Like you've been mentioning Ido as your teacher and his view on the movement. But my question is, like, what's Didier's movement? Like, and in the same line, in the same question, like, let's say in 20 years, like, what would you bring to the movement culture? Like, what would be your impact?
I mean, I would say that for now, what I see is I want to be part of this paradigm shift. I want to be part. What I wish to do is to be one of the pioneers in Montreal of bringing people into redefining their physicality and discovering Ido Portal and his student and his work, you know. And when I say that I learned from Ido, it's very hard to see Ido in real and to learn personally with him. I had the chance to do it in the movement camp in Thailand, but most of the interaction that I have is with his students. But his students are part of his mentorship program. Ido, you know, pays the flight to his students to come and train with him and everything. And like his students are, I would say, as good as Ido, you know. He makes sure that the people that he's going to bring in front of you to his workshops are people that are worth your money and your time, and they're going to teach you the same material as he teach, but with quality, of course, in their own way of teaching, because everybody is but I have a very high respect for all of his students that I had the chance to work with and to meet, and they're all very respectful and amazing human being. And yeah, so what is Didier's movement is it's a lot influenced by Ido, I cannot lie. And I'm trying to discover my own expression of it through what I learned from him and his team. And I'm also bringing my personal touch and my personal experience, because I also learned from many experiences that I had in my life. And I just try to stay humble and to be respectful of people. You know, that's the most important to me. I want to help people, inspire people through my movement, through my teaching, and through the person that I am, so people can just realize that everything is possible, that you can be the best version of yourself. Don't try to be someone else. Try to be just a better version of yourself. If you can have this capacity of looking at yourself in the mirror and analyzing yourself, you know, as I was telling you, sometimes I let the camera roll, you know, and I forgot to stop the camera.
Yeah.
And I hear myself talking and behaving, and sometimes like, oh shit, like, do I look like this? Do I talk like this? And it can be a good mirror in your face, you know, to just put a camera and forget about it and film yourself. So if you can at least just be able to look at yourself, hear yourself, and learn from your mistake, and just always be ready to change and to improve and to be a better version of yourself, I think then there's no limit. The true limit is you. Whatever you're ready to put as time and sacrifices, but if you really want to do something to achieve it, if you find the good teacher and the right method, and that's what Ido says, you know, the Ido Portal method. It's all about a method. There's a method to do everything. I'm a bit OCD freak, and everything I do, I analyze and I do it like this. I can save time, it's better. Okay, I'm going to change it like this.
Right.
Can do it like this for 10 years. And as you said, I believe this is the best way. But if you come in my life and you say, look, Didier, why you don't do it like this? Oh, shit. Wait a minute. I'm going to try it. If your way is better than my way, forget the fight. I'm always optimizing. Yeah. And I think this is what life is about. You know, we live with this technology around us that is non-stop evolving, and that's what you have to be looking for into your movement practice and into your life in general, to just improve, you know, be able to look at yourself, to analyze yourself, and to improve. And I always say this, in a relationship, the worst partner you can find in a relationship is the person who can't analyze themselves and who's not ready to analyze themselves and to change. If you have someone who's ready to listen to you, to work on communication, and ready to work on themselves, ready to change, to put the energy and the time and the effort that this demand, everything is possible. Because let's face it, changing person into your life, changing your partner, is just starting back from scratch and changing a good for a bad and a bad for a good. You know what I mean? So in the end, it's all about communication and being able to listen and to take what the other person is telling you. Not like he or she is attacking you, but more in kind of like, oh, okay, this is how I make this person feel. Okay, I should work on this, I should change this, I should improve this, and then become a better version of yourself.
Amen.
Amen. Aho.
Aho. Yeah. Didier, I have 3 last questions.
Go ahead.
So first question, we all make mistakes. Some are good, some are bad. Yeah. I was gonna say some are good, some are bad, but I'm gonna say they're all good. And I'm sure there's one mistake that you've learned a lot from. And if you were to choose like one best mistake you've ever made, what would it be?
Oh, that's a good question. What's my best mistake? It's funny because I'm not someone who thinks a lot about I did some mistakes. I'm trying to think what was a mistake. I don't really have a mistake. I live life and I know I'm not perfect. There's like behaviors that I did, like, you know, like talking bad to people that I love, you know, or screaming or losing, you know, my center because of many things that was happening in my life. But they led me to a place where I had to grow. I had to learn from them. So what's the biggest mistake I've done in my life? I don't really have any regrets. I don't really have like any mistakes. They're all experiences that I'm going through. So
they're part of the process.
Yeah, they're part of the process.
Circle.
Exactly. It's part of the cycle, as it's cycles, and I go through cycles and I learn, and at some point I don't even know that I'm finishing a cycle, and then I'm just like, oh my God, I'm looking at all of what I did, and then I'm like, I'm here now, you know? But no, I don't see any mistakes.
Good for
everything. Everything happens for a reason. Like, yeah. Maybe if it comes, I'm gonna try to think about it. But it's you're tough. Kind of like throwing me off balance. I'm like, oh shit. You know,
it's tough to answer the question because, like, even me, if you ask me, it's challenging. I've been able. Sometimes, like, you rationalize things that happen to you, and you think they're not, like, you either forget about them or you think they're not mistakes at all.
No, or you think on the moment that it was a mistake, but then with time, when you finish the cycle, you will realize that was not a mistake.
That's really interesting. It's a really interesting point because when I think of old mistakes, like maybe 10 years ago, I'm like, hell no, it wasn't a mistake. I have grown so much from what happened. But when I think about something that I did last week, for example, I'm like, fuck, I shouldn't have done this. But maybe in 5 years, I'm going to think about it. I'm like, okay, I know why I did this and I know why this happened. So it's interesting to like see, like, last week is still in the cycle, but like 10 years ago, it's maybe like in another cycle.
Yeah, you break up from a relationship, you say, oh shit, like that, I should have never been with him or with her, you know, and this. But in the end, you're like, you know what? It's part of your growth. It's part of who you are today, you know. You will not be the same. Okay, of course, like some stuff hurts more than others, and there's some deep scars that you have to heal and everything, especially when it comes with love and relationships, you know. But in the end, you cannot force anybody, you know, to be in a relationship with you. You cannot force things, and if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. You know, the only question, having regrets. It's you know, it's not going to give you anything. You can only ask yourself, what did I do wrong in this relationship? What were my mistakes that I have to learn from so I don't repeat them? A friend of mine gave me a sentence the other day, just before I did a couple therapy with a couple, and he told me, Didier, one life sentence that someone told me one day that's really changed my life. I'm going to give it to you if it might help. In life, you only have two options: to repeat or to correct. Tu répares ou tu répètes. And this is true. These are the two only options that you have. You either learn from an experience and you repair so you don't make the same thing happen, or you just keep on repeating. Because if you don't learn from it, and again, it comes back to what I was saying, if you can't analyze yourself, look at yourself in the mirror and see your true colors, especially when people are putting it in your face like this and you don't know, no, I'm not like that. Where are you going with this, you know?
Yeah, it reminds me a funny story. It's a Zen kind of Zen story.
Okay.
So I can't tell exactly like the source of it, but it's someone who wants to get enlightened. So he went to seek for the biggest Zen masters, and he's been like looking and reaching, and he went to this mountain, on top of this mountain, and he met this master, and he asked him, it was like, what have you done right to come to this place? Like you're the biggest enlightened, the biggest master of whatever. And what he told him is like, I did a million mistakes. That's all I did. I just made a lot of mistakes. And then he asked the master, is like, is there any other master I can learn from, or are you the only one who made a lot of mistakes? And he said, you can just go seek for other people. If you want to become enlightened and become a master, just make a million mistakes. So he wanted to prove and see if it's what the master is saying is right. So he went to look for other masters and asked them, like, how many mistakes you've made. And he met somebody who made a million mistakes. He asked him, like, oh, I made a million mistakes. And he wasn't like a big of a master or any enlightened or anything. He was just a normal person. And then he went back to the first master and told him, you're bullshitting me. Like, this guy made like a million mistakes, but he's not enlightened. He's not a big master. And then he said, you stupid. This guy made a million mistakes, but the same mistake, but I made a million different mistakes. So that's the
difference.
Yeah. So you can, as you're saying, if you can
repeat the same mistake.
Yeah, you can just like, if you just do the same mistake, that's not the purpose. But you have the power to like look back at it and do something about it.
That's it. Learn from it and change it, repair it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just gonna repeat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that's why when you end a relationship, you need to learn something. Doesn't matter if it's love or family or friendship, you know, or work or whatever, you know, and many times I heard people saying this, you know, like, if at least I knew why it happened, I could learn from it, you know. And sometimes some relationship ends where all you wish for is that the person could have tell you one sentence or the mistake that you made so you can learn from it, you know? So yeah, and that's already a good sign. It means that you're someone who wants to learn from your mistakes. But sometimes there's stuff that you can't explain, especially not in the emotion of the moment after a relationship that just finished. But yeah. So I don't know about mistakes. Everything happens for a reason. That's what I like to believe.
That's it. Yeah. I like the answer. Okay, second question.
Go ahead.
So what is the one thing you want people to remember you for when you're gonna be with angels or who knows where?
Life. I wish people remember me for being passionate and someone who live life to the fullest and who's always ready to give, to share knowledge and give and help, and someone who was honest and a man of my word, I would say. Like, for me, it's very important. Like, if I'm telling you I'll be there or I'll do this, I'll be there and I'll do it. It's very important to me. Many people are saying, I'm gonna come, or I'm gonna do this, but they don't stand behind what they say. And this is, to me, it's, you know, it's okay if you change your mind, it's okay, but at least send a message, you know. Like, I don't like text message, but at least send a message, you know, or give a call. The most respectful is, you gave me your word. If you don't stand behind your word, pick up the phone, tell me. And I don't care if you forgot and it's the day after, at least take the phones. But dude, I'm very sorry, like, you know, shit happened, I couldn't be there and I'm very sorry, you know. If at least, you know, to me that's the most important, that you stand behind your words. And I always say the only thing I cannot take in my life is a lie. I grew up with my mother, who has been teaching me that faute avouée, faute à moitié pardonnée. So a mistake that you admit is a mistake that is already half forgiven. And that's the way I see it. So it's okay, we're all humans, nobody is perfect. You fuck up, just have the balls to say, I fucked up. You know, I fuck up, I'm sorry, like.
I wish more people had that today.
But that's it, you know,
yeah.
and that's the only thing I can't live with. If you lie to me and I find that you lied to me, that's it. The interest is you know, like, if I love you, I might forgive you and I might try to change this on you. I might try to help you to achieve this, like, knowledge of, like, you know, just, you can't lie, you know, whatever, you just can't lie, you know. But at some point, I had to give up on some people because I cannot live like this. I cannot be lied to, you know. That's the only thing that I can't accept. So if I can wish something to people, and if I wish that people would remember me as someone who's reliable, a man of my word, and who's honest.
You embody it.
Not perfect. I try to do my best. But you know, I always say, like, when I build relationships, I always tell people I'm asking for two things. Respect and honesty. Because if there's no honesty, there's no respect. Therefore, there's no relationship.
That's it.
So that's all I'm asking for.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Last question. When you wake up this morning, what were you grateful for?
For life itself, man, for my body. Every day I wake up, you know, I dislocated my foot. I had like 6 months, you know, and before I had the MRI and before I knew if I could walk on it and not walk on it. I think this is the most horrible stuff. It's like when you just want to heal and you don't know what to do, and you know, you don't have the right knowledge to know what to do. Which today I know that the worst thing you can do is just stop moving completely, you know. So anybody listening to this podcast, if you have any kind of injury or anyone you love have an injury, don't stop moving. I don't care if it's a back surgery, whatever it is, but micro movement, just at least do micro movement. Just don't stop. Because otherwise you have two rehab to make, you know. You have the atrophy of the muscle on top of whatever you have to, so it's double therapy. So
and you need
that
blood
was the
flow, and you need blood flow in.
So that was the hardest thing for me to deal with, and ever since that day I'm so grateful, you know. Like, my ankle is back, and I mean, it's not 100%, but we're getting older, so nothing is 100% anyway. You just, and as Ido is saying, you know, we all know someone that injured their knee in 1991, and since that day they say, but because in 1991 I injured my right knee, since that day, you know. And I love when Ido was telling the story, you know. And that's it. So don't let your injury define who you are. Work around them. That's it. You injured yourself? Good. Look for exercises and rehab to help you with the problem that you have, but don't let this injury define who you are. Don't let it stop you. So just be grateful. Stop saying, my back hurt, my back hurt. Okay, but what about your hands? What about everything else that is good? You know, stop focusing on the pain. I have pain here, I have pain here. Okay, but either you give it a treatment and you heal it with energy and good thoughts and positivity, or you stop just touching it and rubbing it, so you bring your attention more and more, and this and that's a problem. I have a problem there. The problem is there. And it's still gonna be there. Give it a treatment and visualize that it's healing. You know, it has been proven that the human body can heal anything. What gets in the way? The mind. And we see it. You see some old people, you know, they have like 5 days to live, or 5 months to live, whatever, you know. And they hang on because I'm gonna last one more Christmas, you know. Christmas comes, and after Christmas they give up and they go.
Absolutely.
The mind is strong. So that's why sit in silence with yourself, control your mind, and be grateful. So I'm grateful for life itself. I'm grateful for this body that have the chance to experience every day and to move and to inspire other people to do things with their body, you know. Don't take life for granted. Don't take anything for granted. The only thing you have in this life is the present moment. You don't own shit. Not the material that you buy, nothing. Nothing is yours. You don't own anything, especially not people in your life. And the most precious thing you have in this life is the people around you, the relationships that you have. This is what life is about. If you have valuable relationships, take care of them. Take care of these people. Tell them that you love them every day. Give them love. Do a simple action for them. You know, I don't care if it's baking a cake or buying them a small chocolate, you know, whatever it is, do a little something. Call your people at least once a week. Tell them that you love them, you know. Have some favorites in your phone and call every week. That's what I do. I'm very good with maintaining relationship, you know, and I have a lot of relationship, and people who know me can just laugh right now when I say this, but I'm very social, but I also maintain my relationship. I give time and energy, and I let the people know, if you need me, I'm here. I'm busy like this. I don't have enough of 24 hours in a day with all my projects, but if you need me, you call me. You don't text me, you call me.
I learned it the hard way. Huh?
Yeah, oh my God. I'm very bad with messages, I'm telling you. My friend 2 days ago sent me a message, and then on WhatsApp, and then sent me another text message, and then I saw his message passing, and I called him, and I just sent him a screenshot of like my screen with like WhatsApp 18 notification, here 20, here, like, you know, just, dude, I can't keep up. I can't keep up with too many messages. So you want to get my attention, you call.
Yeah.
Which is hard with younger people in 2020. It's like everybody's just texting, and I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. But so that's it. So I hope people remind me for that, and I hope that this podcast will last online for years and years, and people can listen to this. You never know.
Some inspiration, and I'm really I'm sure there's gonna be a message. Your message is gonna find its way, and hopefully it's gonna find people that are open to it, because it's about opening your heart too. If you're not willing to receive, you're not gonna receive. And I'm sure talking to you, I see there's vulnerability, there's some truth coming out, and when the truth is coming out, when you're open, people are receptive, and hopefully this message is gonna find the right person. Thank you, Didier.
Pleasure, man. Thank you. Always a pleasure to be with you, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for the quality time.
Yeah. Last thing, if anyone want to find out more about what you do, what's the best way to either reach you or find out about your work?
Call me. They can go on social media. They can look for MVMT Montreal, which is Movement Montreal. So if you look online, you can find us, mvmtmontreal.com. Otherwise, if I have my personal social media, which is Didier, DID_YEH. I use this more as an account to test social media, to try to understand the algorithm and everything. Yeah. But that's where I post most of my personal videos. And for the rest, Didier Paré, you can always try to search me through social media, YouTube, Facebook, whatever.
I'm gonna share everything on YouTube.
Yeah, and don't be shy. If I can help you guys in any way, it would be a pleasure.
That's great. Thank you again, Didier.
Thanks, man. Pleasure.
I really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, I invite you to follow me on Instagram. So it's primal_training_MTL. I would love to hear your reactions, and if there is any other topic you would like me to cover, or any expert you want me to invite, I would love to hear about that. Thank you.